The drag engine conversation system allows to create various kinds of conversations, more or less complex depending on the need of your projects. For the conversation system as it is implemented of today, you are using the conversation editor, which allows to create conversations in the style of a movie storyboard. So you are defining, like in such a storyboard, when you have camera changes, when actors are speaking, what kind of face pose, gestures, and whatever they should do, what they are looking at. This is a system which allows you to do very fine-tuned stuff. You can define exactly in what steps the conversation takes place. You have control over all the delays. So you have a lot of possibilities playing with the weighting to make actions interleave with each others. While this system is powerful, it can be a little bit tedious to work with if you have to do a lot of conversations, and especially a lot of conversations which could be handled in a more simple case, like automatically switching camera, automatically doing a lot of text stuff. So to simplify the situations where you want to use simpler and faster system for doing conversations, the simple conversation system has been added. The simple conversation system is built on top of the regular conversation system, but instead of using the editor to make conversations fine-tuned, you can use an XML file. The files are called DES-Convo, but in the end you can use any kind of extension you want. But this is to be similar to the files stored by the conversation editor, which are simply called DE-Convo. Just that here it's now called DES-Convo for simple conversation. A simple conversation file consists of a simple conversation tag and a bunch of snippets or camera and actor definitions. In this case, I've separated the two using importing and similar tricks, so I can keep them separate. But the idea is that a simple conversation is pretty much one file which you can use for a conversation element or a conversation trigger element to start a simple conversation where you get your conversation with as little work as possible. So let's have a look at the file here. Simple conversations consist of a notation which is based on XML. This notation has been chosen since a lot of stuff in the drag engine is already XML based, and XML is good or has been initially invented for adding information to text. In the original context, adding information to an HTML page. Here, the idea is that you can do a conversation text similar to a movie script, where you're just using the text or writing down the text that is spoken, but adding additional tags in between to enrich or to give additional information to the conversation. So for these reasons, all the tags here, like these actor tags, are actually closed tags. So they do not span across multiple lines of spoken text, but they only do a state switch. This is on purpose, so it's easier to start with the conversation text and to simply add the necessary tags in front or behind lines to add the necessary changes. This way you do not have to worry about when this tag starts and when ends. So here, whenever an A tag is encountered, an actor is switched. The A tag is actually a shortcut. You could also have written in full actor ID, and it would be the same. But for the common task, tags like the actor tag or the gesture and look at tags, I've added shortcut versions of the tags to allow you to write in a shorter notation, adding in a shorter notation the necessary information. So in here, we have the identifier of an actor which we want to switch to. The idea is that you can have in your file actor definitions. This is an actor tag, which for example says what you have seen here, player actor 0. So the idea is that you can store in these actor tags the common configuration you want to reuse whenever this actor is talking in this situation. Here it simply means which is the actor idea. This automatically fills in this field here. The text is automatically filled in the text box text. And additional information like the camera is given. So if a camera is given, the simple conversation will add before the speech automatically a camera change. So this line is similar as if you have these two lines written yourself with the correct configuration, but automatically generated for you. So in general, this means if an actor speech is combined with a camera, it does first a little delay of the camera, then a little delay for the actor and switching to it. You can also add additional information, like saying, okay, if I use player think, I want this to be the player with this camera, with this style, which again matches with the text style field here, or use speech animation, which would line up with this box on the below here, use speech animation. So you can use a couple of informations in the actor tag, which is used whenever you use an actor tag with that ID. So in this case, it means if this actor comes, you get automatically a camera switch and automatically an actor speaking line. Here you have a different actor, so you get again automatically a new camera and a different actor speaking. So you can just make this and the camera will ping pong forth and back whenever the actor switches. You get automatically a new camera. The cameras that I have mentioned here are also specified in the same file with a simple camera tag where I say what is the delay I want to use. The default delay is 0.425. So you do not have to write that tag here. And you can then add one or more camera shots to use. This can be a real camera shot, an explicit camera shot. This equals to this tag, to this action here, where you explicitly choose a camera shot. Or it can be like calling a conversation snippet, which then has some logic to decide what camera to use. Or you could also use a command. Or you could also write like command, choose me a camera or something like that. So you can also use a tag like this, and it would call a game command, which would choose the camera. Or you can also say you use an actor attribute, then you would get an actor command, which is ran on the actor you've given here. This kind of tag is interesting if you use element class behaviors which allow to automatically create camera shots, to do automatic framing. Then this is a typical way to use. You can use as many tags as you want. If there are multiple such camera shots, whenever that camera is used, it randomly picks one and uses it. So you get easily randomized camera shots in a simple way. So all this happens just with this single A tag here. And you might see also here that you have an A tag in the end. So in this case, it means this actor is speaking 3 lines, which should be shown as different speeches. So this is the same as if I would have here 3 times this action, each with a different text. So you can just write as many lines of text as you want, add this A tag at the end, or add it at the beginning of a line, it doesn't matter. Just be consistent to signal that these are 3 different lines that should be shown with these different boxes. This also means because it's XML, it doesn't matter what kind of formatting you had. You can also write it like this and you will get one single line because spaces and new lines in XML have no meaning. And for this, you also need the end tag to tell when is the line finished. So this would give you 3 speech boxes, and you can also tell that after 1, 2, 3, or whatever number of speak boxes shown for an actor, you want to have again an automatic camera change. So you can have automatically switching cameras like every second time, so that if an actor is speaking a lot of text, you always get a little bit of different camera angles to spice up the conversation. So, and this is all happens automatically. In addition, you can also add gestures or look at and face poses with such G, F, and L tags. And they simply line up with these kinds of information you've added in the conversation editor manually. But here, in the simple conversation system, it will simply add automatically these kinds of changes to your speech depending on where they are. In this case, it will simply make first an agree gesture and then an all around here gesture and then making a speak gesture with the appropriate timing. So it uses the timing of that gesture before the next one is automatically start before the next one. This is a simple way where you can just chain a couple of gestures one behind the other and they will play depending on how long each gesture goes. Or you could say, I want to have it a little more control. I could do it like this. And then the first gesture would be spaced from the timing, from the delay and the duration. So it fits the length of this text spoken before the next one is done. So you have a couple of possibilities how to easily sparkle information into the text, and the simple conversation will automatically ensure that the individual parts have the appropriate duration and delays, so it all fits together without you having to do it manually. So in particular, this also means the text in here, the simple conversation system takes the text, uses the speech animation that is assigned to the speaking actor to measure how long each individual word is. So it can fill in the duration for each individual spoken words like you've done here manually. So it will also get automatically mouth movement using speech animation by matching the text against the speech animation words known to the actor to get the automatic timing here. So the simple conversation system knows how long this text will most probably be spoken before it does the next thing. So this kind of timing is also done automatically for you. Then as a last thing, there is also a support for example, if-else structures where you can do a test condition, and if the test condition is true, you call a different snippet, which is then triggered. As well with elif-else, you have also a couple of most of the tags that you can also use here. Most of these actions that you can use here also have a direct tag in the simple conversation system, so you should not be missing out. And if something is a little bit difficult to do, you can use snippets with which you can also call directly a topic from the conversation system. So you can also use parts of conversations you have put into such topics in your simple conversation if you want to do something, if you prefer doing something with the conversation system instead of the simple one. So you have a lot of possibilities. But usually if you start using simple conversation system, you usually want to stay in the simple conversation. And another little thing which is nice for especially doing translation work. Translation with the conversation system usually means that you need to assign a translation key, which then has to be used with language packs, so you can change the language packs. While powerful and easy to use, it can be time consuming to work with if you have a lot of conversations with a lot of text. And for this, I've added the following system. We have here the snippet with the name yourself. This is the wrong one. So this one here. So I've created like this, that if you load first a simple conversation system with your original text, then you put in all the informations like who actor is speaking and all the tags and stuff. And then you can load multiple, you can load then your translation DES convo. And for the translation, you only need to specify the text and the end tags, so you know when the text is finished. So I will split this here, so we'll get a better idea what happens. So basically, you see the lines are matching up. So you have here the first line, the first translation here matches with the first line here. Then the second text matches with the second text here. So the system simply replaces the original text with the translated text here, and you do not have to repeat, or you should not repeat, the tags which you have put in here. You only need to tell when the line is finished, and the system can simply update the conversation. The nice thing on this system is that when you have a translation file, translators just have to translate this. This is much easier to work with than working with Excel sheets or even more complicated files where you have individual tags which refer to individual lines in your conversation. Here, a translator immediately sees what's belonging together, what's the flow of text, what's the conversation, so he can make a much more, or can do a much better work by doing a translation which in this flow is giving you a correct and meaningful translation. Of course, you could also just use a copy of the original file and just change all the text and translate it. But for translations to work, this is usually much easier. And something like this you can then translate in a lot of different languages much faster than with conventional systems. And it's also easy for a translation person to understand what's going on here without needing to deal with all the kind of tags it should not touch. So this is the simple conversation system. And we can have a quick look at it, at how this would look like. So I will just select and skip this conversation, which we have seen here. And this simply means that you get automatic camera changes, and the gestures are automatically added with the correct durations, as well as mouse animations are updated automatically. This is all generated for you with this simple XML file, which is a very nice thing to have if you just want to create quickly simple conversations in a project where you have a lot of conversations, or you do not want to spend too much time to get conversations which are looking interesting without being complicated to do or will just being a simple screen where two actors are standing there and talking and you have one camera angle. So I will skip this over. So that's it. So this is it for this simple conversation system, which has been added to the game engine. This will hopefully allow you to create and work with conversations in a much faster way for large amounts of conversations without sacrificing the possibilities of the original conversation system, since simple conversations do nothing else but produce at runtime such a conversation script which then the system runs. So you get the best of both worlds depending on what you need right now for your project.